everyone. If for some reason your mute gets turned off, just go ahead and mute yourself real quickly again, just so I can move through this. And then at the end, we'll have a kind of a share time, question and answer, and things like that. So we still have some people joining us, but we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so the different things I'm going to cover high school graduation requirements, what it takes to graduate from Poetry Community Christian School, the enrichment courses and extracurricular activities that we have to offer, what that looks like, the vocational career plans and calling. I want to discuss that a little bit because that's really kind of what my job is to help your students. We'll cover testing, community service. I am now in charge of our community service and tracking that, and then awards that we have to offer that you want a heads up about. And then I'll talk about what my job is and my role in your students' lives while they're here. And then some Sycamore college and career helps that we have available. If you're just now joining us, welcome. I am recording this, so we are just getting started. So our high school graduation requirements. So one of the first things is our schedule. Sometimes it's a little bit different than other schools. Our core meets Monday through Friday for our 9th through 12th grade. We meet Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 2:15 p.m. And then our electives meet Monday through Thursday from 2:20 to 4 p.m. And actually that I have a correction. Our core on Friday, I believe we get out at 1:10. Some of the times have changed just a little bit to kind of help the situation. We need a little more time in our day. It's not too effective to what you guys are dealing with, but some of those times have been altered just a tiny bit. But that's our basic schedule. Transcripts and grade cards, just a real quick, what is a transcript and what's the difference between grade cards? So grade cards, we put out grade cards at the end of each semester. On Sycamore, you can follow your students' grades in your parent portal by clicking on your student's picture, and then you can see their grades, their documents, their class schedule, their assignments, their missed assignments. And at the end of each semester, then we produce grade cards. These grade cards also include classes that maybe they're not receiving credit for, but they are also participating in. And we have a little bit of a change with that, and we'll talk about that during electives. And then transcripts. A transcript is what we produce. The grade cards and those classes that get credit are then transferred to a transcript, which is the official document showing the accomplishment of your student. It includes the name of the class, the letter grade and the number grade that they received, and the number of credits that they received for that class. What is important about that is those grades for each of their classes translate into their grade point average. We work on a 4.0 scale. That means that we have an A, which is typically around a 4.0, B is a 3.0, and then C and below, so 70 below is not considered passing. So I guess that's 2.0 and then below that, right? But what is important and what most students do not understand is that it is a graded scale. So for instance, if they receive a 93, I believe, I'm looking at my chart, 93 to 97, they receive what's called an A, and that is a 4.0. If they go 98 to 100, that's also considered a 4.0. But if they are a 90 to a 92, that's considered an A minus, and that is a 3.7. So it is kind of important for them to watch when they're watching their GPA and how important that is to them, is to pay attention to those grades. If you have a solid 98 in a class, and in another class you've got to study for 2 tests, and the other class you're sporting maybe a 92, 93, you might want to spend a little more time on the 92, 93. And that also goes for classes maybe you have to manage your time as a high school student to determine how you're going to spend your study time. And so it's important to understand like the grades and how they work. A B plus and a B is I think, hang on, I'm looking. So a B plus is 3.3, a B is 3, and then a B minus drops to 2.7. And that really does affect their grade point average. Now, why is the grade point average even important? So grade point average is super important when it comes to ranking of classmates. We don't technically rank here at Poetry, which is typical for small private schools, because our top 10% for our graduating class of 2021 will be 1.4 students. So it doesn't quite work out to rank. We do let colleges know when our seniors apply if they are in the top 5 of their class. We let the students know that. It's a private conversation that I have with incoming seniors, and so that when they are applying, they can let them know what that rank is. But we do not rank anybody else, just the top 5. And technically, according to colleges, we're considered a non-ranking private school. So what we do in order to make that us competitive with other public schools and their top 10% of their top quartile, we provide what's called a school profile. And this goes out with every single transcript, and it's provided, it gives like how we handle classes, how we handle our grades, how we handle our weighted GPA, which I'll mention real quick, and then how we handle our honors classes, how many students matriculate to a 2-year college, 4-year college, military, and careers. And so that gives them more information about the excellence of our program, so that they know that our students that are performing well among all our students, then they have a better idea that yes, we are still producing top 10 college ready students for their next step. As far as weighted, what does that mean, a weighted GPA? So we do have a weighted GPA. All our classes are 4.0, and then are graded on a 4.0 scale. And then our honors classes and dual credit classes, if you take a class and it has the capital HON in front of it, that is weighted on a 5.0 scale. So that is going to bump their GPA. If they get an A, they get a 5.0 instead of a 4.0. And so that's really important to know if they're wanting to bump their GPA and excel in that area. That's important. Also, that is super important if you have a student who really just wants to try an honors class. I will let you know, after speaking to so many admissions officers from different colleges, that they are actually looking for students who try hard things. So it is better to get into honors classes and get B's than not try honors classes at all. Because you're still going to get a 4.0, which the colleges know that's our scale. So it's still an excellent grade, and they can see that you attempted to do a difficult thing. And they're more interested in that than they are you avoiding those things. So I say try out some honors classes, and so that, especially in our electives, if you have that opportunity, that's a good time to start growing in that area and stepping up. Okay, so our credits, before I move on, what credits are typically for one school year class, you're going to get 1.0 credits in high school. So in English class, or say biology or algebra, it's 1.0 credits. So if you take, say, a class for a semester, it's just a 1 semester course, that's going to be 0.5. And most of our electives, they are 0.25. So technically, if an elective meets one time during elective time out of those 8 options, technically it should be 0.125, but it is best practice. We go ahead and round that up to 0.25 unless a class is not even meeting for that full hour once a week, then we will knock down the credits to 0.125. So that's kind of how those play. So if you have a class that's 1.0, obviously if you're getting an A, you're going to get 4.0 for that whole credit. And then what happens is then all of those numbers are multiplied, then we divide by the number of credits, and that's how we determine the GPA. I will let you guys know that if a student goes on to Sycamore and looks up their GPA, most likely it is not going to be accurate. I can guarantee you. I have questions about this all year long. If you are interested and a student is interested in their GPA, I determine those at the end of each semester. When grade cards are produced, then we update the transcript, and then that GPA becomes more accurate on Sycamore. As other grades are brought in there, and if they don't get transferred to the student profile, then it might be outdated. So at any time that a student is actually very concerned about knowing what their GPA is, it's just best if they come and contact me, and I'll be glad to look that up for them, make sure that it's accurate and current, and then I can get that information to them. Okay, our student core requirements at Poetry Community Christian School. This is really kind of like a 4x4 when you talk about like foundational high school requirements. There's technically, I'll say technically, and I'll explain. You get 4 English credits, 4 math credits, 4 science credits, 4 social studies credits, and 2 language other than English, which we call our LOTE, credits for Spanish, or at this time we're offering ASL. So let me go back real quick. In English, they are actually receiving more credits for English because of our writing lab. We have a very unique and I think exceptional program to offer our students the writing lab. So their freshman year, they actually get 2.0 because the writing lab is 1 whole credit and their English credit is also 1 credit. I believe the sophomore year, they also get 1.0 for the writing lab. I have a chart, that's what I'm looking at. The junior year, it's usually 1 day a week, and so they'll get a half for the year credit. And then the senior year, depending on it just depends on the schedule and how the schedule comes together, they'll either get 0.25 or they'll get 0.50, depending on how much class time they're actually in the writing lab for the year. So you can get quite a bit. It's like, what, 6 credits, I think, 6, 7, somewhere in there. Almost 7 credits for English. Math, our students get 5 credits, which is pretty much standard in high school, because you usually have algebra in the 8th grade. If for some reason the student comes from a school district and transfers in and doesn't do that, and so they get their 4 in the high school, that is still considered foundational for a high school graduation diploma in the state of Texas. 4 is all that is required, but we typically have, most of our students will have 5. Okay, science as well. Science is 4. We now are offering dual credit anatomy and physiology, and hopefully we'll get to continue to offer that in the future. They will have actually, I think it'll be like 4.5. So our science classes, you start with biology, then we do forensics, then chemistry, and then you get a choice your senior year. You can do integrated physics and chemistry, or you can do marine biology. We have some different options. And then, let's see, I'm missing one. Physics, marine biology, anatomy and physiology, and IPC. So you do have a couple of choices on how that plays out. As far as a transcript is concerned in applying for college, the 2 math that you must have is algebra and geometry. I did run into a college this last year that required the algebra 2. So it's important to pay attention to that. Science, biology, and chemistry or IPC are required on the transcript. And then all other sciences over in that are open based on approved TEA science courses. And then social studies, we have world geography or cultural geography and world history, and then world history, U.S. history, economics, and government are those. We have in the past offered Latin and Greek roots, but we are now going to roll that into MemBeam because MemBeam does a great job. That's the online platform for vocabulary that we have our students that are required from maybe even 7th and up. I'm not really sure when MemBeam starts, but it is excellent if the kids take that seriously. It's an excellent program for learning roots and vocabulary. And so we don't have that class because we feel like that meets what we feel like is important for our students to have a larger vocabulary, especially when it comes to writing and then reading comprehension. So it's really important that they take that seriously. I know that they would rather not take that seriously, but it is extremely helpful. It's helpful for testing. We'll talk about that. SAT, ACT is extremely important to get those roots down, have an understanding of vocabulary. Even for college entry, they're looking for those types of things, even in their essays. What kind of vocabulary level are they using? And if they'll take that MemBeam seriously, it'll be a huge help to them. And then we have a logic class. And last year I taught the logic class. It was very difficult in the spring to do that. By COVID, I'm sure I put all the students to sleep. So I'm trying to find some new ways to, just in case we're online at any time, to make that a little more interesting. But logic is really important in today's age. I feel like every day I hear something on the news and I'm like, that is illogical. So much of our news is absolutely illogical, and we're losing an entire ability to understand what logic is and then being able to speak logically. So really important class. I hope to do it better justice in the spring. And that's for our 9th graders. So our 9th graders take logic. Okay, this is what our graduation planner checklist looks like. If you are in 9th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, this is what your graduation planner will look like, because when we switch to a foundational DCAP and LAPS type graduation plan based on TEA's recommendation when they changed to the foundation plan, we updated our graduation planner checklist. So it'll generally look like this. These are found on the students. I have updated them for the entire high school. I've not done 8th grade if I have any 8th grade families joining us. If you, from 9th on, you will find this under your records on the student side. So if you're a parent and you're wanting to find this, you can click on your student's picture, and then you can go to, I believe on the student side it says records. On mine it says documents, but I think on theirs, I had a student show me one time what that looks like, and I believe it's under their records. And then the top one, the one I just did, unless the transcript is up there, is the graduation plan. So you'll see grad planner or something like that. And then it will have everything they've taken. Not all grades have what they're taking right now. They can look at their schedule, kind of pencil those information, that information in. Not all of the classes, I was able to get all their core that they are now in classes right now. So you could pencil in 2021 under their, look at their schedule and pencil those in. And so we're going to go through that. There is a separate information plan, kind of graduation plan info sheet, which is the picture on the right. It's a lot of information. It's just basically how do we do high school at Poetry. So you can read that. You can find that under the main Sycamore page. And if you go to Documents, I have a folder called C&C folder, College and Career folder. And under that folder is any document that I am producing, any document. I've determined this is the best way to put all these documents out there for you guys so that you can find them is under that CNC folder on the main Sycamore documents page. So you click on documents, then click on all documents and then CNC folder and you should find it. So you'll find the new one for incoming freshmen. And I believe the way I've separated it, there is one for last year as well, but it is the same. So I did not update the graduation planner this year. There's other things that I needed to be concerned with this year. I have not updated that. I did update the graduation planner checklist just a little bit because I knew you guys needed that immediately. So you can find those there. Okay, high school graduation oh, nope, went the wrong way. We've already covered that. Woo! Okay, electives. So on that checklist, you will see that we have certain classes that are required for graduation. So the first one is our Connect. Now our Connect used to be an elective choice. We had to move it basically because we are self-containing our classrooms in order, and I know some of this information will be new to you. We've been hashing this out since June. We have created cohorts, that's the big buzzword, but basically self-contained classrooms. So each grade is going to be self-contained. Why? Well, that's so that if one student, an 11th grade student, comes down with COVID, then only the 11th grade class has to go home for quarantine until tested and all of those things. The student that was sick, not everybody has to be tested. So it allows us not to have to shut down the whole school. And so we are trying to minimize contact. And so what's happened is we moved Connect up into the first period, our new first period. Okay, a couple of wonderful positives about that is that because we have less events happening for our students, they have less opportunity for bonding and just being a strong team unit in their grade level. So we're kind of excited about this. They're going to have some devoted time together, and I think really have an opportunity to get to know one another within their classmates. So we're going to take the positive on that, and we also get more Bible time. So I'm really excited about that as well. All of our favorite Connect teachers have signed up to do this for Connect, and so we've got all the best of the best that are taking on different Connect classes, and so we're really excited about that too. Okay, fine arts and tech. We have 4 classes required of each. So you have 4 fine arts classes and 4 tech classes. Okay, so saying that, you will notice if you've looked at the week at a glance, there are not a lot of options this year. We just don't have the offerings that we've had in the past. Again, that's to contain classes into cohorts. Do the very best you can on choosing those classes. You do want to look at some things like pretty much we had to whittle down the electives to graduation requirement classes too. So there's not a lot of fluff classes. So you will probably be meeting some needs. I will let you know speech. I told a lot of seniors and different ones that speech will be in the fall usually, but it's going to be in the spring. And then money management, which I told you would be in the spring, is now in the fall. But it may also be in the spring, just so that we can have more opportunities to take classes, just so you know. Because I know it's during girls' athletics, so it makes it a little difficult. Okay, let's see. So fine arts. Oh, the bonus. Okay, because we have not, we're also trying to limit the number of people on campus. So what we're offering is that if a student signs up for private lessons for voice, guitar, ukulele, piano, any of those music private lessons, we will give you fine arts credit for those. We haven't in the past because of the it's not necessarily a class, but this year, under the circumstances, we feel like this is a great offering for them. So if you have students that are in voice lessons or anything like that, we will give them the 0.25 fine art credit for that time. And there should be plenty of the technical applications classes for them to pick if they need a couple of those as well. Okay, so PE, we don't have a lot of offerings. If your student is not into athletics and they have not met their PE, then I highly recommend coming and talk to me so that maybe we can find some other ways to meet that credit, maybe a personal workout schedule. We might have to just be flexible to meet that need. So there's yoga classes in the evenings by Zoom. That might be an opportunity that your student might check in once a week to a yoga class that Dr. Horan offers, which I highly recommend. It's pretty amazing. And so that might be another opportunity to meet that. And they are meeting by Zoom on Mondays and Thursday nights. I don't know if that schedule is going to change, but that's an opportunity there. Or we might work out some personal workout schedule, a weight schedule. So please come talk to me if you need a PE credit, because I believe you will have karate, which obviously is our karate program is top notch. We spit out black belts every year, and they do such a fantastic job. So karate obviously is top choice, and then we have archery as well. But if you're not interested in those, let us know. We'll work with you, okay? Okay, speech communications. This has always been a question every year. I'm hoping I cleared up this time. There is a speech communications class that we will have in the spring. We're not offering it this semester, but it's an actual course that has to be taken, and it is required for everyone. So it doesn't matter, that particular class has to be taken because it is specifically by its objectives. It teaches certain speeches and different types of speeches, and it's really important that all our students take that class. Then there is a second requirement for speech competition or performance. If you were in theater, in our theater production last year, then you have met this by far. So if you're in theater, it can go for both fine arts and the speech competition requirement, or it can be just fine arts. We also have a class usually for speech team. We might double up on that next year, in the spring. So, and then we also usually, under normal circumstances, we have a speech meet. And so what we're looking at is creating our own in-school speech meet for the spring, and we'll see kind of how that plays out. Maybe that'll be a great opportunity for the students to offer them that opportunity to actually perform and compete against each other. So, okay, health. There is a health 1 and a health 2. I know this has been confusing in the past. We have finally worked it out. Ms. Houston is an amazing health teacher. So in the fall, we'll have health 1. In the spring, we'll have health 2. You do not have to take them in order. You can take 2 and then 1. It doesn't matter because they are covering different aspects of health that we feel is important for all our students. Money management, that is a 2-day-a-week course. So if you're choosing to do that, you have to hit up both days on your selection sheets. So make sure you're paying attention to that schedule. That takes 2 days to accomplish that entire credit. Okay, exam prep. So there are 2 classes required for graduations for exam prep. I'll talk about testing and the things that they can work on. I know we had some 9th graders take it. I do prefer it's 10th and up, mainly because you're beginning to prepare for college entrance exams. But if you do take an exam prep in the 9th grade, obviously we're not going to turn you away. You can get started early. It just becomes more relevant as you get older, as to why you're working so hard at these exams. So, and then the college and career planning, that used to be an elective, but the last couple of years, they just put that on your schedule for the 11th graders. So that will also be in the spring, and probably one of those spots from your writing lab. I teach that class, and we do a lot of research, and my main goal of that is not necessarily to show them every type of research question that they need to have and where to find it, but basically just how to start asking those questions about the people around them, and how to ask themselves questions, and to pray through what is their next steps. So we would do a lot of research, and that's mostly what that class is for, to give them the opportunity to find out, where do I look for this information. Okay, internship and capstone. We do require an internship. It starts after the 10th grade year. So as soon as they finish their 10th grade year, they have 2 whole summers. It's 68 hours of an internship. I know we're going to have to be a little more flexible on this. We'll have to see how things play out this year. But they can either get a job and get paid, or they can do an actual internship. And I love to help students find those opportunities. This is a great way to find out what they might like to do in life. And an internship is more than community service. So community service, you don't receive anything in return. But an internship, you are actually receiving something. You're either going to receive monetary awards, or you're going to receive maybe some leadership training. It goes beyond community service. You're just not showing up and being told what to do, but you're actually learning skills. Maybe you're learning somebody's job. Maybe you're learning how to do that job yourself. Whatever that is. So it goes a little bit further than community service, and that's something I love to sit down and talk with students about, and finding those opportunities in their areas of interest. And then lastly is our capstone. Our capstone is a requirement. It happens in the May of their senior year, and it's a 15-minute PowerPoint or Prezi presentation that they give for the board of directors and our administrative staff about their high school career and their future career, and it's all about them. And so it's always such an enjoyable time, especially for me, as they wrap up their thoughts and feelings and experiences and impacts for their high school career. Okay, dual credit. We do offer dual credit starting the sophomore year. Now you might think, okay, well, I have a sophomore. It's the spring of the sophomore year. Once they've taken their TSI for their reading and writing, and they have shown proficiency in college readiness in reading and writing, then they can take sociology in the spring. So sociology will be on the schedule in the spring, and our sophomores and up can choose to take that dual credit class. Our dual credit here at Poetry, we are allowed, tuition is waived for the first 2 classes that they take here at Poetry, and we do all classes here on campus with our professors and who have masters in that subject area. And after the sophomore year, which it's a great opportunity with Mrs. Stapleton, so I highly recommend it. And then in our junior year, we offer English 1301, English 1302, psychology. For some of our students who test out of Math 1314, we offer pre-calculus, which is also a good reason to kind of prepare ahead if you feel like math is your skill. I guess what I wanted to say is, if it's your jam, because math is my jam, so that's what was in my head. That's not really professional, but anyway. I love math. So if you love math and you want to get ahead in your math, if you're interested in engineering, things like that, then I highly recommend that you take sociology so that then you have the opportunity to test out of Math 1314, which is the college algebra. So then in the junior year, you can get your dual credit pre-calculus class done. And it's worked out really well for this kind of dual process that we have going. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you're talking to me and Mrs. Rosenbaum about that opportunity. It's not for everybody, but it's a really neat opportunity. And then our honors classes. So we have honors classes. If you can actually, so I do need to mention this. So you can take an honors dual credit class, but not actually get dual credit for it. So what does that mean? So dual credit means that you're also getting college credit. So you're taking a class that you're getting high school credit for, but you're also getting college credit. That's why they call it dual credit. At TVCC, they do waive the tuition for the first two classes, but there is fees that are $147. And then if you're out of paying district paying, whatever, out of district, yeah, they call it out of district paying fees. So those are $180. So it's a little bit more. And then usually, I think that's usually the fees, and then we cover all the cost for the book. So it's a good opportunity. You can knock out some college classes, but if you choose not to do that, you can still take the honors class. Everyone in an honors dual credit class gets a 5.0 scale on their GPA. So it is something to look at, because some students have chosen to take those honors classes, but have decided to wait to take college credit when they got to college. And so obviously that is an option, and it can be expensive because it's on top of your poetry tuition. So it's just something to look at. I'd love to, again, always just be talking to me if you have questions about these things as they come up in the future. Okay, here we go. All right, vocational career paths and calling. Okay, this is so important to me. So I'm just going to give you my little blurb on calling versus career paths. This is really important for our Gen Z students who, I don't know if they'll give the 9th and 10th graders another letter or what's going to happen next. I don't know who the they are that make these designations. But our students today that are graduating are different than me. They are definitely dealing with a different world between social media and the complete online world. And they do think differently. They do react differently. They sort through information differently. They retain information differently. And what we're finding in the studies about students that are graduating is they want to know if what they believe, if what they believe and what they've been taught is true, and they want to know, is it always true? They're growing up in a world the world is telling them there are no absolute truths. And so that is insidious. It's an insidious lie. And it's in the very fabric of probably every TV show. It's in the very fabric of all the books that they read. Even just their fun books, which I call candy books. It is woven into the fabric of their lives. And so they want to know, is it true? And is it always true? And is it true for me? And it is. They get to discover that, and we can help them with that. We can help them discover the truth of that, and that God's word is truth, and it is reliable, and it is always true, and that it is sustainable. But it is a discovery process, because the whole world is telling them different, that they have to discover for themselves. But we can help them. We can help them. So one of the things is I like to, what they've discovered, and you'll see this in culture where they're discovering that if the goal is to go out and make money, that truth is not sustainable. That truth, that the goal of life is to graduate and go to college and get a good job, that truth is not sustainable. Because if you look at our world now and the conflict that we're in, I have 4 children that I homeschool, and they're all in their 20s, all 4 of them. And they're looking at a world around them and they go, what is the point? What is the point of me working this job and supplying an income for myself to live in a world that is falling apart? And if, which I raised them with the truth, I raised them in the truth of God's word, but is it true enough to sustain them in a world that is falling apart? When we look around, they don't know. So is it worth it to make all this money and supply for myself when there are people that are hurting and needy and all around them? And what they can discover is that the Lord God is love, and that he will sustain them, and that his purposes for their life is far greater than the vocation or the career path, the major that they choose in college. They need to find God in that first. Because you will even hear people say, well, I got a college degree, but I'm not even using whatever it was in my college degree, because they have found their calling. So we need to encourage our students. What is their calling? What purposes God placed on their lives? And then their vocational and career, what the Lord has for them will follow, but that calling will sustain them. The career path, not necessarily. Okay, so education must be oriented to preparation for a calling and not just training for a career. The book Fabric of Faithfulness is a difficult read. It's very philosophical, but it's excellent if you are interested. God's intentionality towards us has a purpose. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for calamity, to give you a future and a hope. Plans, in that word, is intentionality. That word in the Hebrew is intentionality. For I know the intentions that I have for you. If we can help our kids find that God has intentions for them, and they are intentions for welfare and not calamity, that it is to give them a future and a hope. We also have different gifts, and each is given gifts according to the grace that is given us, and that we can help them find what those gifts are. Again, if you look at people who have found their calling can sustain them through online work. My calling to be a college and career counselor at Poetry Community Christian School has sustained me through the absolute insanity that we are living in the educational world, because I know that I've been called to this position. It is not a job. It is a calling on my life that God has prepared my whole life for me to do. And it has sustained me and given me joy to continue in a very difficult thing. And as you find your calling that God has for each and every one of us, then that is what is going to sustain them going into the future. The gifts and calling of God are irrevocable. I love that. I discovered that verse a couple of years ago, and God just went, bam, and there it was. And I was like, okay, so just because my career path changed from teacher to college and career, it never changed my calling to serve students, especially high school students. My calling didn't change. My position did, but my calling didn't. And I just think that's beautiful. And the greatest gift we can give our students is an opportunity for them to discover a vision for their lives, one built on the solid foundation of Jesus Christ. Where there is no vision, the people are unrestrained, but happy is he who keeps the law. one thing I just highly, I just encourage you as parents is pray that your children have a vision of who they are in Christ and what their vision of their future. Because in that they will find their calling and it will sustain them no matter what path they choose from here on out. And of course, the law there is what Jesus said the law was. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. That is the law, but happy is he who keeps that law. So I just want to encourage you that that is becoming a new focus of mine for your students, that I hope that throughout this year we'll have more conversations with them, because I think that it will resonate with them when they look around at the chaos around them and they're trying to figure out what is God's calling on their life going into the world that they are going into, and how they can love God with all their heart and then love their neighbors. Okay, enrichment is my little focus for the year. Oh, I went the wrong way again. We've already seen that. Okay, all right, so vocational career paths. So one thing I tell the students all the time is we are in the world, but we are not of the world. And so we do have responsibilities in this moment, in this high school time frame. Checking my time. So there are some responsibilities, and some is just seeking that out. Sometimes God wants us to try open windows and doors and see what those things are that he has for us as we discover our gifts and our talents and our interests. One way you can do that is through extracurricular activities. I know in our current environment that makes it a little difficult, but I do, if you find opportunity, be creative. I keep telling the students, just be creative to do things maybe in a new way. To meet those needs. I do offer UScience online. If you look it up, uscience.com. I sent out an email early in the summer, I believe, to the sophomores or the juniors, maybe just the juniors so far. But I'll be sending it to the sophomores as soon as we get going in the school year. UScience is an aptitude and interest test that they have access to for the next 10 years. The school provides it for all our students. Aptitudes, what they have found is after the 10th grade, aptitudes do not change. All of their research have shown that how they think as a 10th grader, how they process, how they work in pairs and groups, how they approach vocabulary, how they approach numbers, all of those things in their thinking, those things do not change. Their interests may change, but their aptitudes do not change. It is how they're wired by the Lord, and it is an excellent resource of trying to figure out, and then it matches their aptitudes and interests with 500 careers, and it grades them from highest match to lowest match, and they can search for things they're interested in as well as get some new ideas, and each one of those, say a day in the life, what that person does in that career, what kind of education is required for that type of career, and it just gives tons of information. I know it has information on where to find a job in the United States, where are people hiring, how are they hiring, is that job growing or is that job diminishing, as far as their needs and demands across the United States. So it's kind of interesting. I have a feeling all of that's going to shift in the next few years, and we'll have to get some new research, but at least the aptitudes and interest in career information is spot on. The kids have been shocked when I describe what it says about them and how they work in groups or independently and how they approach processes and decision making. It's really fascinating. So that is offered to the students. College visits and college fairs. Now they've gone all virtual, but they are so effective. They have some college fairs coming up. I sent emails out about those. I try to get those on the college and career forum on the calendar. They're all virtual. You sign up virtually, and then you can actually meet with people from the different colleges, which is really awesome. And then you can also go to sessions, the breakout sessions that are usually at the college fairs and at the college visits. They'll have breakout sessions in these fairs, the virtual ones, and even your college visits have gone virtual, you can find out tons. It's really because of COVID, they've had to up their game across the board, across the United States, on making their virtual information much more professional and and complete. So I've been really excited about that. So that's kind of cool. You can virtually visit any college campus across the United States and get a ton of information. That is really important to do. It's just kind of, God can use that to speak to your student if they'll take the time and do some research. And we do a little bit of that in the college and career planning class, but we do it really fast and furious. So that's something that I just encourage them to do on their own as well. Just get on the computer in their spare time, and before school starts is good, because you have spare time right now. And so get on there and start looking around and looking at those things and taking the time to do that. Okay, one of the options, you have career opportunities, you have college opportunities, you have 2-year, you have 4-year, you have military. There is also gap year and leadership training. There's some excellent, I say that, I would like to be hopeful that next summer we'll have these opportunities. So after they graduate, there are wonderful leadership training opportunities where they can gain college coursework, but at the same time do Christian leadership training all over the United States. Some really great, and they're all different depending on what your interests are. So we have some very close to us. We have some far away. I can recommend, many different opportunities. I think on the college and career forum, I put a couple of those, on there for the students to kind of look at if they're interested in taking a year before college. This is really great, and that's called a gap year, where you have 1 year, and you might travel, you might, like I said, do some leadership, Christian training, things like that. Those are really good opportunities. And we talked about internships. So testing, I got 5 minutes. So testing, PSAT comes in October. It's 9th through 11th. This year, we've been offered several opportunities to do the PSAT. So this year, we're going to do it on Saturday. That way, no one else is in the school, and we can stay in our cohorts. So we'll have classrooms by cohorts, which is our grade. So we'll have 9th grade separate from 10th grade, separate from 11th grade. And if we have to spread out in 2 rooms for each one of those grades, we can do that as well. But we're going to do it on a Saturday when the campus is clear. And I think that we'll be able to accomplish our PSAT here. It is, PSAT is a preliminary SAT. It only tests their math through algebra. It is for, I believe, it's through Algebra 2, except for the 9th grade. They take a 9th grade PSAT, and then it only tests through geometry. And that is what we use for our National Merit Scholarship program. I will say this really quick because I want you to have this information. On the PSAT, our national merit is for the top 2%, but it is judged basically regionally, and in the state of Texas, we happen to have a very highly rated set of students. And so it's, in order to make national merit, you have to be in the top, I don't know what the number was last year, but the number the 2 years ago was like in the top 1.7%. So it's regionally. So in Texas, it's even a little bit higher in order to make national merit for those scholarships. But if you're reaching that level, you're going to get some great scholarships anyway. So that PSAT is helpful. The reason say you're like myself, I am not in the top 1.7% people, and so there is no way that I would test that high. One of the things that it does for our students, though, is one, it gives them practice in test taking. It's really important. It doesn't cost them anything, and it's a really great opportunity to see what those tests are like. Also, if they're planning on taking ACT and SAT after that, it also allows them to have personalized test prep. So they link their PSAT scores with SAT practice, and it gives them personalized test prep opportunities on Khan Academy. So it's really important to take that PSAT, even if, you know, you're just taking it. Like I always tell the kids, don't stress, just have a good time, take the test, you'll be all right. It is a good practice in taking those tests for sure. It's a shortened version of the SAT and just a really good opportunity to practice sitting for that test and working through those problems. So we have the ACT and SAT available to our students. I know this year is a little bit crazy. Uh-oh, hang on, that's my alarm. Okay. This year, we have the ACT is offering like 4 or 5 tests a month. SAT is opened up another extra test on a Saturday. Unfortunately, I think the soonest you can get one now, because they're filling up, is for SAT is October, is what I've heard. And that is because all the seniors that need to take it, their spring semester, have to get it in as soon as possible. So they are scrambling. So if you're not a senior, I say wait. There's no point in stressing over that. I do recommend that juniors take it at the beginning of their junior year, but you would be fine to wait until November or December. And here's the reason why I want my juniors to go ahead and take it. You should have some idea of how you're going to test. You need to take at least the ACT and SAT if you're going to a 4-year college. And then we have a concordance that ACT and SAT put together, and they compare them. And like I tell everyone, I've only had one student that tested the same. Usually you test better at ACT or SAT. Like I said, one student that tested the same. So most people think it's because the way you process and think, they are written differently for different types of thinking. So I do recommend taking both at least once, and then figure out which one you test better at, and then practice that one going forward. Okay, so what's the importance for ACT, SAT? College entrance for 4-year college. If you are planning to go to community college or a 2-year college first, or a technical school, you only need the TSI. You still have to take a SES prep class with me, because you can work on your TSI. There are some scores that I will waive one of those classes, but here's the deal. Once you receive there is a certain level in which is college entrance, and then there's a level for getting scholarships, and then there's a level for full ride scholarships. And here's the thing. They have shown through statistics and research that if you will work 20 hours on the SAT practice, so you get 16 in my class, then you, on average, across all demographics in the United States of America, they have brought their score up 200 points. 200 points is the difference between not entrance and entrance, the difference between entrance and scholarships, and the difference between scholarships and full rides. 200 points makes a huge difference when it comes to these tests. And so it's worthy of their time. I homeschooled. One of the reasons I homeschooled was because I was not ever going to teach to a test. I didn't want my kids being taught to a test. And well, unfortunately, the academic scholarships, not all scholarships, but just the ones that are automatic academic scholarships at the college level, are based on those ACT and SAT. So it is worthy of their time. I always told my kids, you're going to earn it. You're going to earn your scholarships and earn your college of choice by your grades and that test. So I told them you can make more money spending time practicing those tests once you apply to those colleges, because a lot of them have set levels, and that not all of them, because they have a lot of whole, like what they call whole person processing, but those scores are pretty important for entering into college. They are not the end all. We now have test optional, which is an option, and that's worthy of a discussion with your student. If your student is not a great test taker, my daughter was not. She did not take the SAT or ACT because she had severe math test anxiety, and so she was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And so she chose a different path and went to community college first. And once you go into community college, then you don't have to go back and take those. You just transfer into a 4-year college. So that is the thing. And then this new test optional is really a great opportunity for students who don't test well, which would have been perfect for her because she's an artist. And so she took all art classes, and it is definitely for that student who doesn't maybe test well, but she is a phenomenal artist. God has gifted her with as an artist, and that would have been the best choice for my daughter if we had had that option. So I'm really excited about the test optional. Again, not for everybody, but it is for students that need it, and I'm really excited about that. You have to ramp up your essay and your application, so that is a conversation we need to have early. If you are like, yep, don't take test well, want to go test optional, then we'll need to sit down, talk about your resume, your essay, things like that, because you'll want to balance with those things. So, and then TSI. TSI is the test, a Texas State initiative. It is a test for dual credit, as well as it is the college. You can't fail it. This is always a misnomer. It's just showing whether or not you are college ready, and it places you at a certain level for your college classes. So that applies for dual credit because they want you to be successful, as well as if you go to a 2-year or technical school, they want to place you in the correct math or English in order for you to succeed. So you can't fail it. Everybody thinks they can, but it is more for placement for that opportunity. And again, test prep, that class, my exam prep class, works for that as well. Okay. Community service. Wow. Okay. Community service. So community service and awards. I highlighted a student's schedule. I don't know. Can you see my mouse? Can you see me moving my mouse? Yes? Okay, great. Okay. 4 hours are required each semester. I just sent out some emails about this. We have jobs. If you are not okay with your students serving their community service outside of PCCS at a third-party place, maybe a food bank, which they need tons of help. I know Terrell needs tons of help. These next 2 weeks, or do you have just 1 week? I guess we're getting down to it. So you have 1 week. You can actually knock out 4 hours of community service. In the past, you couldn't serve PCCS because we saved all those jobs for partnership hours. But here's the thing: if you are not okay with your student this semester serving in a third-party location, then you can serve PCCS. We have painting, we have cleaning, we have sweeping, we have rooms that have to be put back together. We are so overwhelmed with jobs. We have students up here serving every day, but you need to contact us and let us know before you come to make sure that we've got jobs lined up and somebody to supervise. But we have plenty of work. We will have work opportunities throughout this semester to earn. If you did an hour a week helping out with, say, pulling weeds or sweeping walkways or highly sanitizing classrooms or something, we could use students' help. So we're going to allow them this year to serve PCCS. Now, you can't record any hour for both parent partner and community service. It has to be one or the other. But trust me, guys, if you got hours you need to fulfill, we got work. We got lots of work here because we had to tear apart the entire campus and we've had to start over, and it's taking a lot of work. We are all work tired and exhausted. So we will take any hands and feet that can help us. So you can come and earn your 4 hours. So saying that, on the student schedule, they will, I should have highlighted the first semester, they will have a CommServe practicum, DLab CommServe practicum. That stands for community service. You're going to look for that class. When you click on it, what it does is you have a place to log hours. Now, I don't know what it looks like from the students. So I might have a student in my office and show me what it looks like from their portal, but that's the class you're looking for, and they log their community service hours, and then they tell me specifically, you have to put in there specifically. You can't just say PCCS. You have to tell me what job you had in there, and then I will approve those, and you get a grade. We had some students in this fall of last year that got Fs, and that shows up on the transcript. It may not go towards your GPA, but they see that you got an F in something. And why did you? Why did a student receive an F? I mean, that you have to fulfill the 4 hours. So please talk to us. There's many ways to get that accomplished. If you click on that class, I have put lots of opportunities up there for students to find. So the Rockwall, you can go to some of the pet places, shelters. That's what I was looking for. The Rockwall shelters on there. I put a whole chart of different opportunities where you can serve. Casey's Place is one of our families, and they have after school care. And Mrs. Cruz, Cheyenne Babavek's grandmother, she runs it for after school care. I got to serve there this summer. It's a wonderful place to serve and play with kids. You basically are outside. They have very limited number of children due to COVID. They just want to keep it real small, but they still need help. They need hands and feet to come play basketball, throw a ball around, kick a ball around, and just play with the kids after school. So I put that information on there. Gospel for Asia, once a month, would love for us to come out. Was one of our families, the Powell family served there for Gospel for Asia. They do yard work. It's a great opportunity, especially you guys. You can go out on a Saturday and work with Mr. Powell and help him with all the tasks on their acreage that they need done. He would love the help there. I think I put a couple of opportunities. Exodus Ministries, I go once a month. I would love another parent who would join me. I can only take 4 students a month, and my car is full every single time. So that's another, and it's self-contained. It's a closed-in, gated apartment complex, and we serve kids and play with kids for a couple of hours. And it's super fun, hold babies and all that. So lots of opportunities to serve. So please look at those, look at the documents there. You can find all the paperwork you need. I put all the links and emails for opportunities to do that. I know Stuco once a month does Trash Bash, and we clean up our highway. Poetry Highway is our designated area, and the kids go out on a Friday afternoon and clean up the highway because that's definitely something we can social distance. I'm sure that activity will continue. So do make sure you're paying attention to that. And then under general, we have some others. I'll talk about those some more classes that your students will have under general. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay, so awards, we do have some awards. I would say look at the handbook. If your students are interested in earning awards here that we give out at the award ceremony, make sure you're reading about those, especially the Star Award. The kids love to get the Star Award, but it's very difficult. You have to be in athletics every year and also be in either Stuco or do academic competitions to get the Star Award every single semester. So I think it's by year. I don't think it's by semester. So so you want to be paying attention to those things, and if that's something you want to try to get, obviously our Spirit Award, that one is those students that just really show spirit for their school and for their classmates and work as ambassadors for their class. So that's a really coveted award as well. We have our Distinguished Academic Awards, and then we have lettering. Lettering is by point system. I would just say check out the handbook if you're interested. The students do not have to be in athletics to letter and get a letter jacket. So do check that out and see what those requirements are, because your student may say, well, I'm not an athlete, I'm not in athletics. That would have been me. But I was in I got to letter because of Stuco and some other things, other academic stuff that I participated in, and we offer that for our students as well. So do check out the handbook for that. Okay, I'm in charge of the Presidential Volunteer Service Award. We can talk about that later. That is a great award that comes from the President of the United States. And basically there's a scale. All that information is on the ComServe website. Here's the thing to remember: from May, I think it's like actually 1st of May, all the way until the end of April next year, you would track your hours on a worksheet. And that's just up to you how you want to write those down. You basically need like where you've served, and this is for community service, which can be part of R4 and then some more. You want to keep track of your hours, your dates, and where you served and what activities you participated in, and just keep a running log. I will, about mid-March, I'll be asking for those. The deadline's usually mid-April, and then I get those in and order the awards for the award ceremony. So check that out. All the information is there on the ComServe practicum class. You can read all that. Okay, me, what do I do? Okay, so I will meet with parents and students at any time. I try to meet with our seniors at least once a month. I try to meet with our juniors at least once a quarter, and I try to meet with our sophomores at least once a semester, and freshmen, anytime I will meet with you. So anytime you guys want to meet, you just pan me. Please don't catch me in the hallway. I will not remember. If I have 5 students tell me things, I will forget everything. So you make sure you're panning me and say, hey, I want to meet. I need to talk about things. I have questions. So please, I will meet with you. We meet during the electives time, and I will call you out of class. And so you just have to let me know you want to meet and you have questions, and I will be happy to do that. Same thing with parents. It has worked out fantastic. I had sent out a sign-up genius if you were wanting to meet with me before school started. I added some more times, Monday and Tuesday of next week. If you go back and find that link, it says CNC meetings. If you'll find that email, or pan me and say I didn't get the email, then I will get that to you. And you can sign up for a time, and we can meet by Zoom. I'm loving Zoom. I will meet with Zoom anytime. They have this awesome setup in my office now, so I can meet by Zoom at any time with students. I can meet with the students sitting here with me and the parent at home during the school year. Anything that makes that convenient for you, I'd love to do that. Okay, lastly, there is a college and career forum class. This is where I put a ton of information. Unfortunately, it's only on the student side. I can't add parents into the class. So if you need to find it, you would go to Sycamore, you click on your student's picture, go to their classes and find their general classes, and you can find the college and career forum as a parent. Students, sometimes I do, I give away prizes, because I'll say, go find the newest article under the College Career Forum. I'll say, you know, find me 3 videos on the College and Career Forum class. Whoever gives me the first, 5 answers to my questions, I will do kind of a scavenger hunt. I do a scavenger hunt for the bulletin board. We have a bulletin board. It's outside of Dr. Rand's office, and I put up all the current information up there, and sometimes I will have a scavenger hunt on the bulletin board as well. I haven't gotten any takers on that one, so, you're missing out. Of course, I did find out my prizes weren't so great, so I have to up the ante on my prizes. I was like, yeah, we don't want a pencil. So I gotta pick up my game on that, on the prizes, but okay, so under general is college and career forum, and so that's what that looks like. And under college and career forum, again, I have documents, tons of documents. Every time I put out a document, a scholarship application, any of that stuff, it goes under documents. The other big one is news, and I didn't take a picture of that, but under news is where I keep all the scholarships. So all the scholarships, there is probably 200 or 300 of them. Students, if you are just going through there and you're searching, you're looking for scholarships, but you see that the article is outdated, well, the links are usually still current, so you can still do a little research. Let me know if you find one that's outdated. It happens, because it's hard for me every month to go through and find all the old ones and update them to the new year. And but just let me know. Seriously, there's 200 or 300 of them. So under news, I try to keep news just to scholarship information and articles that I get. And then under calendar, I'll put virtual fairs when I hear about them, SAT, ACT deadlines, testing dates, any other dates that come across my desk or through my email. I will add those to the calendar so you can check on that every now and again. Okay, and then under, I didn't tell you guys this, under class, the students should know this. If you click on class is multimedia, I don't know, there's 20, 30 multimedia videos and web links of information and great websites, virtual fairs, all kinds of fun stuff is under there and helps. So do, take some time and kind of look over that class. There's just tons of information. I try to keep it updated. All right, so that is it. So we made it through the whole thing. I know, right? I can see Miss Flattery. Okay, so thank you guys for your patience, for hearing me out.